Welcome to our Defense Briefing Show. Today, we're diving into some dramatic headlines from around the world. First up, Brazil makes history as its Supreme Court convicts former President Jair Bolsonaro of plotting a coup after his 2022 electoral defeat. This is a big deal, marking the first time a former Brazilian president faces such charges, and it signals a strong stand for democracy in South America. Next, in the United States, church leaders in Georgia are in hot water, accused of swindling a staggering $23 million in veterans' benefits. The scheme involved fake mortgage applications and fraudulent enrollment in seminaries, targeting military members near bases across 5 states. It's a reminder that even religious organizations aren't immune from corruption. And finally, tensions rise in Eastern Europe as Lithuania boosts border security ahead of joint Russian-Belarusian military exercises called Zapad. These drills, the first since the Ukraine conflict, involve nuclear-capable missiles and drone activities, making neighbors nervous about potential conflict zones. It's a busy time for global security. Please continue to watch for more detailed insights on these stories. The City Morning Herald reports a historic and momentous development in Brazil, where former President Jair Bolsonaro has been convicted by the Supreme Court for plotting a coup to stay in power after losing the 2022 election. This groundbreaking case marks the first time in nearly 140 years that a Brazilian military official faces punishment for attempting to overthrow democracy. The court's majority found ample evidence that Bolsonaro acted with the intent to erode democratic institutions, with some justices voting to convict him of multiple crimes, including organizing a coup and attempting to violently abolish democracy. The verdict not only signifies a major legal blow to Bolsonaro, but also sends a powerful message to Brazil's armed forces, emphasizing that attempts to undermine democracy will be punished, a stark departure from the past. The case has stirred fierce reactions, with Bolsonaro's supporters claiming vindication and the political landscape poised for further upheaval as the court considers sentencing, potentially impacting Brazil's upcoming presidential elections. The Associated Press details a scandal involving the Church of Prayer Christian Churches of America, based in Georgia, which has been accused of exploiting military veterans' trust and benefits for financial gain. Church leaders, including founder Ronnie Dennis, allegedly swindled millions of dollars from veterans' GI Bill education benefits through fraudulent schemes, such as enrolling soldiers in seminary programs that drained their educational funds and using their identities to purchase homes via false mortgage applications. The indictment reveals that the church raked in approximately $23 million from veterans' benefits across 5 states, often near military bases, with some of the church's seminaries operating under religious exemptions that obscured the misuse of federal funds. Additionally, church officials were accused of using members as straw buyers to conceal the purchase of rental properties, which generated millions in rental income and were used to pay personal expenses. This case underscores a disturbing abuse of trust within military communities, exposing a complex web of fraud and deception designed to enrich church leaders at the expense of service members. Deutsche Welle reports heightened tensions along Lithuania's border as Russia and Belarus commenced joint military exercises called Zapad, the first such drills since the Ukraine conflict escalated. Lithuania has responded by bolstering its border security, wary of the potential threat posed by Russia's latest military maneuvers, which include testing a new hypersonic missile capable of carrying nuclear warheads. The drills have raised alarms among Lithuanian authorities and local populations, fearing that the exercises could signal an imminent escalation or serve as a prelude to further aggression in the region. With troop movements, drone operations, and missile testing underway, the atmosphere remains tense, reflecting broader fears of regional destabilization amid ongoing conflicts. Lithuania's increased vigilance underscores the fragile security situation in Eastern Europe, as neighboring countries monitor Russia and Belarus's military activities with concern about potential spillover effects and the safety of their borders. Deutsche Welle reports a shocking act of political violence as Charlie Kirk, a prominent right-wing figure and supporter of the Trump MAGA movement, was shot and killed during a campus event in Utah. Authorities have released images of a person of interest, believed to be of college age, dressed in black and wearing sunglasses, with a $100,000 reward offered for information leading to the suspect's arrest. The FBI recovered a high-powered bolt-action rifle near the scene, indicating a targeted attack, and is analyzing the weapon for clues. The incident has ignited a wave of reactions across the political spectrum, with many condemning the violence and others debating its implications, especially given Kirk's controversial stances and global involvement in conservative politics. The attack has also sparked international reactions, with EU lawmakers attempting to honor Kirk and President Trump planning to posthumously award him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, emphasizing his influence within conservative circles. The Sydney Morning Herald offers a critical perspective on Donald Trump's shifting approach to international diplomacy, highlighting how his traditional deal-making strategy, centered on leverage and country-specific agreements, has faltered amid ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. Trump's recent condemnation of unilateral military actions, particularly Israel strikes and the attack on Hamas officials in Qatar, underscores his complex stance that often appears duplicitous. The article suggests that Israel's recent targeted killings, especially the assassination of Hamas negotiators during peace talks, reveal a deeper failure in Trump's diplomatic efforts, as negotiations seem to be mere facades while military operations continue unchecked. Trump's inability or unwillingness to leverage U.S. military aid to enforce international law further diminishes America's influence, leaving allies and adversaries alike questioning the efficacy of his deal-maker persona in a world increasingly resistant to his transactional approach to geopolitics. The New York-based commentary from Walid Ali examines the broader consequences of Trump's diplomatic impotence, especially in the context of the Israel-Hamas conflict and U.S. foreign policy. Ali argues that Trump's abandonment of a rules-based international order marked by his reluctance to pressure Israel or Iran has led to a loss of credibility and leverage on the global stage. His failure to prevent Israeli strikes on Iran and Qatar, despite promises of support, exemplifies how his reliance on power and leverage has become ineffective, especially as adversaries like Russia and Iran continue their aggressive pursuits without meaningful repercussions. Ali contends that Trump's approach, which once promised to elevate American influence, now leaves the U.S. isolated and powerless, with negotiations and diplomacy rendered futile. This erosion of U.S. authority driven by Trump's transactional style threatens long-term stability and diminishes America's role as a global leader in peace and security. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports on the unfolding political upheaval in Nepal, where the youth-led protest movement, primarily composed of Generation Z, is actively engaging with the military to establish an interim leadership amidst widespread unrest. Following the resignation of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli due to violent riots, the country remains under tight security, with schools closed and essential services disrupted. The protesters have rallied around Sushila Karki, a former Supreme Court Chief Justice, admired for her independence and integrity, as the ideal candidate to lead a transitional government. Meanwhile, Kathmandu's Mayor Balendra Shah, a young civil engineer and anti-corruption advocate, has gained support but publicly endorses Karki, signaling a collective effort to find a credible, neutral figure. The movement's decentralized organization, utilizing social media platforms like Discord, underscores a grassroots desire for collective leadership and constitutional adherence, even as concerns about outside interference and the army's delayed response cast shadows over the fragile peace. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation also details Australia's strategic military developments under the AUKUS agreement, where an $8 billion operation will station up to 5 nuclear-powered submarines and over 1,000 US personnel near Perth. This unprecedented presence at HMAS Sterling signifies a deepening US-Australia military alliance, with plans to rotate submarines starting in 2027 and eventually enable Australia to operate its own nuclear submarines. The initiative involves extensive community engagement with local infrastructure upgrades and housing developments to accommodate the personnel, highlighting the strategic importance of Perth's proximity to key regional hotspots like the South China Sea. Experts warn that the lack of transparency around these deployments risks fueling local concerns and geopolitical tensions as the U.S. aims to establish a more permanent, dispersed military footprint in the Indo-Pacific region, with the base serving as a critical launch point for U.S. operations and regional influence. Yahoo US reports on the political landscape in Texas, where Republican Congressman Morgan Luttrell has announced he will not seek re-election after just 2 terms, citing a desire to stay closer to home following personal reflections prompted by recent flooding. Luttrell, a Navy veteran, has been a vocal supporter of border security and veterans issues, representing a district that leans heavily Republican. His departure, along with other GOP retirements like Chip Roy, signals a potential generational and strategic shift within Texas politics, especially as newly redrawn districts are likely to remain in Republican hands. Luttrell's decision underscores a broader trend of political turnover and the emergence of new faces in the state's GOP delegation, which is poised for change amid ongoing debates over policy priorities and regional representation. His focus on faith, family, and freedom resonates with his constituents, and his departure marks the beginning of a new chapter for Texas's political landscape. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopsis thoughtfully curated by the 6DO team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6DO Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6DO team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity to customize 6DO Brief to meet your professional needs. You have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6DO Brief via email.